Hello, welcome back. I'm Chidi Abhishek De Silva, an undergraduate of the JAM Institute for Advanced Technology. Welcome back with the question series of Database Management System 1, and today I'm here with the question set number 19. In this question set 2, we're going to discuss the same question scenario that we had in question number 16. So as the first question, they tell us that two new students have been admitted to grade 11 of the school. Their details are listed in the table below. Enter that information in the student table. So as a second question, index number STU004 student's last name should be changed to Moses. Write the relevant SQL query. And as the next question, Natasha, you must say the student's contact number should be changed to the number they have given. Write the relevant SQL query. And then as the first question, Natasha Vimalasena transferred schools before the first term examination. Therefore, remove the information about this student from the student table. And then as the fifth question, find out the details of all the students in the school. And as the sixth question, find the marks of mathematics subjects of all the students in the first term. And then as the next question, find all the marks obtained by all the students in the first term in Singha language and literature subject. And then as the last question, Amanduji Singha entered another school from the school before the first term examination due to receiving a scholarship. Therefore, remove the information on the student from the student table. So then today too I'm using Heidi SQL software. So then let's move to Heidi SQL software. In the first question, as we have to enter data to our tables, we have to use insert query. So then move to the query tab and let's tap insert into the database name as exam marks db and then the table as student. And then we can use two methods here. One method is by mentioning all the columns that we have to enter data, and the other method is without specifying the relevant columns, as we gonna insert data to all the columns to the student table. I will discuss about both the methods. At first I'll discuss about the method without mentioning the columns. So insert into exam marks db student and then the values brackets, and then inside the quotation marks the value of the first column as stu009 and then comma, and then again the single quotation marks and then the name as, and then again comma and the single quotation marks and then the last name as, the gender as female, and again a comma and single quotation marks, inside that the contact number, and then again comma and single quotation marks, and then the class name is a foreign column to the student table. So we can use the value 1 here, as the value 1 is responsible for the class name 11a, and then at last the semicolon. The next method here too we can use the insert into keyword, and then likewise the exam marks db the database name and then the table name as student. Here the specialty is we gonna mention the relevant columns that we need to enter values. So inside the grievance and marks, let's mention the column names. The first column name is the index number column, and then comma again the grievance and marks, and then the first name column, and then comma and again the grievance and mark, inside the grievance and marks the gender, and then comma, and inside the grievance and marks the contact number, and then comma and again the grievance and marks class name. Here we are not able to use the class name, as in the table the relevant column has got the column name as class id, as it is a foreign column from the class table. So then let's use this column name as class id. Twice in the previous query we set in the values inside the quotation mark, then the index number as stu010, and then the first name as Natasha, and then again comma and single quotation marks, and then the last name as Vimalasena, and then comma again single quotation marks the gender as female, and again the comma and quotation marks, then the contact number, and then at last the value of the class name as 2, as the value 2 is responsible for class name 11b. So if I discuss that again, insert into the the exam marks db, it means the database name, and then the table name, and then we specify the relevant columns that we need to set the values with, and then we set their column names as index number, first name column, the last name column, and the gender, contact number, and then the class id. We use the column name class id here, as that class table is a foreign table to the student table, and then we set the values inside the quotation marks. And let's execute this query and then refresh the page, and here we can see the both the rows have inserted to the student table. So then let's move to the second question. The index number is 2004. Student's last name should be changed to Moses rather relevant SQL query. It means this row which have the last name as Tilakaratna, so then we have to change the last name. So then come back to the query tab. Let's tab the update query, as we have to update the relevant row. So update, then the database name as exammarksdb dot, and then the table name as student. We use the keyword set here to set the values, and then here we specify the relevant column that we need to update. We need to obtain the last name column, and then equals, we set the value to Moses, and we can use the where clause here, as we have to specify the relevant student. So we used to specify the relevant student by the index number. So then index number equals to inside the quotation marks stu004, and then at last the semicolon. And then let's execute this query. Then let's move to this and then refresh the page, and we can see the last name has changed to Moses. So then let's move to next question. There we have, here they tells Natasha Yumlar saying a student's contact number should be changed to this number or the relevant SQL query. So then here too we have to use an update query. So then let's again type update, and then the database name as exammarksdb dot, and then the table name as student, and let's again use a set keyword to set the values. And here inside the gravy mark we need to specify the relevant column that we need to update. We need to update the contact number column, and then equals, we set the new value inside the quotation marks as 077150444, and then we use the where clause here. In the question they have provided us with the full name of the student, so then we have to use the first name and last name. Inside the quotation mark, the first name equals to inside the quotation marks Sasha, and then we use an and keyword here, as we have to check the two conditions. And then the inside the quotation marks, the last name column with the value, and then at last the semicolon. And then let's execute this query too, and then let's move to data and then refresh the page. We can see the contact number has updated. At next, the Natasha Marcena transferred scores before the first term examination, therefore remove the information about the student from the student table. So then we have to remove the relevant row from the student table, so we have to use a delete query from, and then let's give the database name as exammarksdb, and then the table name as student, and then we have to delete the row that relevant to the student named Natasha Imalasin. So then we can use the where clause here, and inside the quotation mark, the first name equals to inside the quotation marks Natasha, and then we use an and here, and again inside the quotation marks, the last name column equals to inside the quotation marks Vimalase, and then at last the semicolon. And then let's execute this query. Then let's move to this data tab and let's refresh this page, and we can see the row that related to the Natasha Imlasena with the index number TU010 has deleted from our database. So in the fifth question we have to find out the details of all the students in the school. So then let's come back to the query tab, and here we have to tap a select query. We select all from the database name as exammarksdb dot, and then the student table, and then the semicolon. let's execute this query. Here we have obtained all the details of all the students in this school, and then let's move to the next question. Then we have to find the marks of the mathematics subjects of all the students in the first term. So then let's again tap a select query. Here we have to find marks, so then we specify the relevant column as mark, select mark from, and then the database name as exam marks db dot, and then the table name as student exam mark record table. We use an inner join here as we have to link the term table and the subject table. Let's first join the exam term table, and let's use the on keyword, and let's specify to which column of the student exam mark record table is linked with the exam term table. So student exam mark record table dot exam term id equals to exam mark table dot term id, and then let's again use an inner join here to join the subject table, and let's again use the on keyword here, and then student exam mark record table dot subject id equals to subject table dot subject id, and then we can use the where clause, and inside the DBMS mark we can give the conditions as the subject name equals to mathematics. We can use the and keyword here, and again inside the DBMS mark the term name as first term, and then at last a semicolon, and then let's execute this query. Here we have obtained all the marks of the students relevant to the mathematics subject in the first term. So in the next question you have to find all the marks obtained by all the students in the first term in single language and literature subject. So here too we can use a select query, and we have to find the all marks of the students from, then the database name as exam marks db dot exam mark record table, and we can use an inner join here to join the subject table and the exam term table. Let's first join the subject table. Subject, we can use the on keyword here, and then student exam mark record table dot subject id equals to subject table dot the subject id, and then let's again use an inner join here. Here we can join the exam term table, and then again the on keyword, and then the student exam mark record table dot exam term id equals to exam term table dot term id, and then we can use the where clause here, and inside the DBMS mark we can say the subject name equals to inside the quotation marks, and then we can use an and keyword here, and then inside the DBMS mark we can give the term name as equals inside the quotation marks, and then at last semicolon. Let's execute this query. We have obtained all the marks of the students of the single language and literature subject that's scored in the first term. So then let's move to the last question. It tells Amadou Singha entered another school from the school before the first term examination due to receiving a scholarship, therefore remove the information on the student from the student table. So here we have to use a delete query. So then delete from, let's specify the database name student exam marks db, and then the student table. We can use the where clause here, where we can use the first name inside the quotation mark, first name equals the quotation marks, and then you can use the and keyword here, and again you inside the DBMS mark the last name equals to inside the quotation marks, and then at last a semicolon, and let's execute this query, and then let's move to this data tab and refresh the page. Now we can see the student with the name Amadou Singh has deleted from our database. So then let's meet to the next question set number 20, and bye for now.